What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video.
When he put me on a track animal, show him who was I when I make him go and commit suicide just like a phantom.
Rap is by nature fast rhythm and rhyme. Have you ever wondered who the fastest rapper in the world is? Well, a quick Google search of fastest rapper in the world reveals a list of the world's top 10 rappers as ranked by Guinness World Records. While the title has over the years been held by Daddy Freddy, Twista,
drop the bomb on him when he put me on a track animal, show him who was I when I make him go and commit suicide just like a phantom.
No Clue,
I'm skiing when I see y'all throwing the dubs. When I step on the scene, bigger things, bigger dreams. A lot that I never seen is never what it seems, but it's
Rebel XD,
Stupid step on the taking the weapon away from rap on the dope. Venom capping, packing, and grabbing, rapping, and choke. Stupid committee of rappers want to be lyrical enemies, soon be stepping away and making it better. Then let them step and get them, egging them up, when I pick them up, when I take them out, when I be staking them out of my academy, get them.
and most recently Eminem.
you assuming I'm a human. What I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber.
Twista is considered the most consistent fastest MC. On average, he raps about 12 syllables per second. Known by his stage name Twista or Tongue Twister, Carl Terrell Mitchell is an American rapper, popularly known for his chopper style of rapping. In 1992, Guinness World Records awarded him with the title of the fastest English rapper in the world after he rapped about 598 syllables in 55 seconds. That's an average of 11.2 syllables per second. But just who is this rapid speed rapper? Twista hails from the west side of Chicago. He was born on November 27, 1973 and lived his formative years in K-Town, a neighborhood stretching from Chicago's North Lawndale to West Garfield Park and through to West Humboldt Park. Infamous for gang culture, drugs, crime and violence, West Garfield Park and West Humboldt Park are still very dangerous areas to this day. It is in this environment that young Carl found himself living, but found a way to live above and eventually escaped through music. Twista caught the hip-hop bug early. As a youngster, he would watch hip-hop movies like Beat Street and Crush Grove. He was rapping by age 12, beatboxing and rapping in a corner with his buddies at home. At school, he would engage in rap battles in the schoolyard. Confident of his abilities, Twista did not keep his ambitions in check. He searched. Over time, simply rapping and rap battles were no longer enough. Carl sought to master rhyme by going faster and faster. The more he practiced his craft, the faster he became. As Twista's rap became faster and sharper, he was constantly and consistently at talent shows organized on the west side of Chicago. It was during one of his numerous visits to a talent show held at the Gold Dome on Chicago's west side that Twista met a local radio DJ. Known for his liking of artists from Chicago, that DJ saw the untapped potential in Carl. He then seized the opportunity to manage him. From then on, because of the changeability of his tongue as he flowed, Tongue Twister became Carl's stage name. From then on, Tongue Twister began performing at different shows on Chicago's west side. It wasn't long before his popularity grew. During one of Tongue Twister's shows, his lyrical prowess caught the attention of a Chicago promoter from Loud Records. The rest, as they say, is history. Tongue Twister then got an invitation to Loud Records in LA. An audition soon followed, and soon after that, Twista was offered a deal with Loud Records. Twista accepted and signed the record deal, making him the first rapper from Chicago, the Windy City, to do so. After that, Twista got into the studio. Tongue Twister debuted in mainstream music under Loud Records with his single, Mr. Tongue Twister. He released it 5 days before his 18th birthday on November 22nd, 1991. Unfortunately, the single did badly. It didn't last to make it to the billboards. Even after a promotional video was played on Yo MTV Raps and Rap City, Tongue Twister's musical career was yet to take off. Undeterred, Tongue Twister continued working on his first album in the studio. The result was an 11-track album called Running Off at the Mouth. It was released in the early 90s and distributed by Zoo. Similar to its lead single, Mr. Tongue Twister, the album failed to make it to the charts. Tongue Twister and Loud Records were faced by yet another disappointment. The artist was understandably dropped from the label. Arguably, Twista's only real claim to music fame under Loud Records was his entry into the Guinness World Book of Records, where he was recognized as the world's fastest English rapper. A second chance came for Tongue Twister when he signed with Atlantic Records. To reinvent himself, the young artist dropped the tongue from his stage name and simply became Twista. In addition to the name change, before returning to the studio to work on a new album with the then DJ IC, Twista slightly slowed his flow down and deepened his voice. Around 1994, Twista released his second album called Resurrection. Interestingly enough, the title was shared by another Chicago native known as Common, who had released 2 weeks earlier. Were Twista and his producer looking to clash with Common in more ways than one? Or was this an honest mistake? To avoid any marketing conflicts and possible beef with Common's Resurrection, Twista's album of the same name was only released in Chicago. Consequently, Twista's Resurrection received little to no national attention. Despite this, and the fact that the 12-track album did not chart, it was not a complete flop. One of Twista's Resurrection tracks, Suicide, was very controversial for all the wrong reasons. Considered a confrontationally disrespectful track or a diss track, Suicide took shots at Naughty by Nature for calling Twista's fast rap style all show and gimmicks. The track Suicide saved Twista's Resurrection from complete commercial ruin. Now it seems like Twista also had issues with Bone Thugs and Harmony. In the 90s, Twista picked a bone with Bone Thugs and Harmony over who had originated and popularized the Midwest style of rap, him or them. Although Bone Thugs and Harmony's rap style was more staccato and blended in than that of the Midwest, tension and distant beef brewed among the artists. That is until they finally met in person and amicably diffused the beef. They subsequently collaborated on the jam Midwest Invasion. Instead of pursuing any further conflict, Twista thereafter concentrated on making chart-topping music. With 2 unsuccessful albums tucked in his back pocket, the resilient Twista took time out to up his game. 2 years later, Twista, now signed to the record label Creators Way Associated label, CWAL, collaborated on the lead single Po Pimp of CWAL's rap trio Do or Die's debut album, Picture This. The track became a hit single and was released around 1996. The song reached number 15 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Singles Tracks and was number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100. By the end of the year, the single had sold about 600,000 copies. It had obviously gone gold and eventually went platinum. Twista had finally arrived. Around 1997, Twista released the single Emotions. It became his first ever charting single since embarking on a mainstream musical career.
I got you under my complete control. You know what's worth when the diamonds are gold. Now don't be bogus in the night.
It went into the Billboard R&B Hip Hop Singles chart at number 50 and was number 11 on the Billboard Hot Rap Singles chart. The promising single narrowly missed getting into the Billboard Hot 100 Singles chart at position 101. Emotions became the lead single to Twista's then forthcoming album, Adrenaline Rush. CWAL's successful collaboration with Twista saw the label sign a deal with Atlantic's Big Beat Records. The culmination was the release in 1997 of Adrenaline Rush. The album had features like Johnny P, Liffy Stokes, Miss Kane, Malif, May-Z, and Turtle Banks. In light of Naughty by Nature's Treach diss that Twista was a fast-tongue fraud, the rapper showed that he had indeed upped his game. The album became his first charting album, rising to number 77 on the Billboard 200 and number 13 on the Rap Hip Hop Albums chart. The album also spawned a single that made it to the Billboard Hot 100, one called Get It Wet. Around 1998, Twista this time teamed up with some rappers from Chicago, ones he had worked with on the Resurrection, to form the group Speed Not Mobsters. Their album Mobstability followed around 1998. Released by Atlantic Records, it featured Shock the World, Christopher Williams, New Sense, and Danny Boy. The album also made it to the Billboard 200, coming in at number 34. The album was so successful for Twista, as one of the singles made it to the soundtrack of the film Dr. Dolittle. To crown his apparent success, around 1998, Twista founded his own label, Legit Ballin'. From 1999, Twista's label released the compilation albums Legit Ballin' and Legit Ballin' Volume 2. Around 2000, he teamed up with the groups Rough Riders and Dragon on the Riders Ride or Die Volume 2 album. Collaborations with Memphis Bleak on the single Is That You Chick on their The Understanding album followed. Twista's Legit Ballin' label followed this with the release of a compilation album called Street Secrets in 2001. Twista was on fire. Early 2002 found Twista in the studio recording his fourth album, Kamikaze, in collaboration with Kanye West and Ludacris. Released around 2004, Kamikaze debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. On its release, it reportedly sold about 300,000 copies in the first week, a first for Twista since his entrance into the music scene. Its lead single Slow Jams featuring Kanye West and Jamie Foxx
But I know somebody who can. I got you looking at the glance on my hands and wrists while I'm laying back and smoking on my cannabis.
shot to the top of the Billboard Hot 100, with singles like the iconic Sunshine,
Niggas, fuck what you talking, I represent the niggas ballin' with jewelry full of sixes, down to the niggas chasing millions.
Overnight Celebrity, and So Sexy. The album sold about 2 million copies. Kamikaze became Twista's breakthrough album on the charts and commercially. The hip-hop community all over the world was forced to sit up and take notice. Twista had finally attained the recognition he richly deserved. Commenting on Kamikaze, Twista would now confidently say, "I stand as a representation for the MCs that have skills, and not just make music for the sake of making music. I spend quality time concentrating on producing great stuff." Twista had attained stardom, but he was far from done. In the years to follow, Twista demonstrated his ability to work with diverse artists. Around 2005, via Atlantic Records, he released The Day After. The legendary track star, his longtime producer, was conspicuously absent from this album's production. In spite of the track star's absence from the project, the 15-track album did well on the charts. The album produced hit singles like Girl Tonight featuring Trey Songz, So Lonely featuring Mariah Carey, and Hit the Floor featuring Pitbull. The album was eventually certified gold by the RIAA. Obviously unstoppable, barely 2 years after the release of his fifth album, Twista released his sixth, a sequel to his 1997 album titled Adrenaline Rush 2007. The album consisted of 22 tracks and produced singles like Give It Up featuring Pharrell and Creep Fast featuring T-Pain. Compared to Twista's third and fourth albums, this album performed poorly. It reportedly sold about 41,000 copies in the first week and debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200. By the second week, it had dropped to number 48 on the Billboard 200 and sold about 20,000 copies. By June of 2008, the album had fallen off the charts after selling a total of 365,000 copies. It looked like Twista was finally on the decline, or was he? Around 2008, Twista launched a new label, Get Money Gang Entertainment. A seventh album, Category F5, followed on July 14th, 2009. On it, he once again partnered with the legendary track star for the first time since 2004's Kamikaze. On the album is the hit, Wetter. The rest of the songs on the project were faced with one problem or another. Ironically, the track Problems, one featuring Tech 9, had to be cut out because of sample clearance issues. She Got It featuring Bobby Valentino and Jim Johnson was also cut out because it wasn't 100% ready. Although Category F5 featured a star-studded lineup with the likes of Busta Rhymes, Akon, Kanye West, and R. Kelly, the album did not make a lot of noise. The same could be said about Twista's 2009 guest appearance on the single Legendary with Windy City rappers AK-47, Soros, and Bones. In spite of this, however, Twista kept releasing albums. Around 2010, he released his eighth album, The Perfect Storm. The album's lead single, Make a Movie,
Need a strip for this, so let me get the music in, get the tape in, get the camera in.
was produced by the legendary track star. Other recognizable names on the album included P. Diddy and Ray J. The album's November release also accompanied that of the documentary Mr. Immortality, The Life and Times of Twista. In it, Twista was asked whether he feels like a rap star, and he confidently responded by saying, "I don't feel like a rap star, I know I'm a rap star." No arguments there, despite his declining sales. After The Perfect Storm and his documentary, sometime in 2011, Twista began working on his ninth studio album, one called Dark Horse. A 2-year break from the music scene commenced. Around 2013, Twista then announced his return when he featured on the remix of Little Reese's song, Traffic. Work on his ninth album, Dark Horse, progressed. Its lead single, Throwing My Money featuring R. Kelly,
Side down, then open up a leg.
and produced by Chris Millionaire, was immediately followed by a collaboration with Lady Gaga on the track Jewels and Drugs.
Twista be going to warp speed, breaking out. Blowing OGs got me creating that team.
The track appeared on her album, Arch Pop. A second single release, It's Yours, from the still in progress Dark Horse album, was enough to feed the appetite of Twista's fans. And around 2014, Dark Horse was finally released. The album debuted at number 40 on the Billboard 200 and sold a whopping 6,700 copies in the first week. A testament of Twista's standing in hip-hop, he featured on Gossip, a track on the acclaimed When the Music Worlds Collide, produced by the talented Jonathan Hay and Mike Smith. Released around 2015, the album also featured notable names in hip-hop. These include Crooked I, Sky Zoo, DJ Woo Kid, Wordsmith, DZ Wright, Mad Child, and Sci-Hi the Prince, just to name a few. Since his 2010 documentary, Twista has occasionally graced television and silver screens. He appeared on ABC's panel show To Tell the Truth. This was interspaced with the release of Twista's 10th album, Crook County, in the same year. Its lead single, Next to You, featured R&B sensation Jeremiah. Considered by some fans to be an updated version of Adrenaline Rush, it received positive reviews. After an appearance as a judge on Netflix's Rhythm and Floor around 2019, Twista released his 11th project, Summer 96. Twista is still very involved in music. Just recently, he posted on Instagram the availability of Shooter Ready on all music streaming platforms. Around February 2020, just before the COVID lockdown, Twista released a 6-track EP called Lifetime. It was recorded and released in partnership with Red Bull Songs and Red Bull Studio Sessions. Recording the early years of his career, Twista interestingly summarizes it as follows. As a fan of East Coast rap, I was rapping more so to please artists and writers in New York. I wasn't accepted as well as I thought I would be. Rappers would diss me. They would say hateful things. So I got mad at the East Coast. I said, fuck it. I'm going to only rap for people in my city, on my block. Sometimes people look too far outward, but you should first start inside yourself and then work your way out. Once I made that change, that transition, everything flourished. Aside from being one of the fastest rappers in the world, Twista has a daughter, Aaliyah Mitchell, from his marriage to Rashida that lasted from 1991 to 1999.
My buddy, his name is actually creative too. He's a training counselor in Chicago, and he can train you to become an instructor. So I took the course, became an instructor, and started flourishing. And that's why I got this hat, the gun camp. So y'all know it's called a gun camp. And yeah, I'm a USCCA instructor, NRA instructor.
The rapper is also on social media and can be found on Twitter using the handle @TwistaGMG or on Instagram using the handle @TwistaGMG. Twista gets about 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and his most popular songs on the platform are Slow Jams, Overnight Celebrity, Slow Jams Again, Sunshine, and Make a Movie.
I be looking so fabulous, never the one to be tested. Consider be nothing for me to just go on the clouds and show on the dress and the killer. I'm looking impressive and I'm somebody not to be messing with. How I do it is a hell of a method. And when it be stepping up in the vicinity, I'm a demolish. You look at Louis and powder this on my body, I'm a hurt. I got mine. Glock 17 full size, 9mm Glock 17.
That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Twista in your opinion? Let me know down below. If you have a video request, be sure to let me know as well. New What Happened To video dropping next week. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.